Well, hi, good morning. Thanks so much for joining me here in my shop. My goal today is to do the FM IF alignment. And there's a couple interesting things about this. It's not going to be so straightforward. It never is, actually. So the instructions here contain actually two sets of instructions for doing this, depending upon what equipment you want to use. So here's one set of instructions, and here's another set for doing exactly the same thing. So we're going to do both. We're going to do both and compare them. Now, what makes this kind of interesting is the previous person who worked on this radio altered the tuning mechanism in the radio. So this radio, like a lot of these European radios, when you throw the switch from FM to AM, you mechanically change the tuning knob interlock from one tuner to another. A mechanical interlock that moves back and forth when you push FM or AM. Well, that's been disabled in this radio and fused. So when you tune the tuning dial, you tune both AM and FM. Now, I think there's an essential problem with this. It just may be that you can't do that successfully and have the dial accurate. Right? This is what I'm thinking, because I've detected earlier that the FM IF is off frequency. So it's supposed to be 10.7 like this, but it's a little off. And this is a radio that somebody took pretty good care in working on last time around. So it makes me think maybe it's off for a reason, and the reason could be to correct a dial inaccuracy that cannot be corrected because the pointers are essentially fused together on this radio now. They used to move AM and FM separately, but now they're fused together. So whether that's really the case or not, I don't know. How am I going to figure this out? It seemed to me the dial was pretty accurate. What little attention I have paid to that, and of course with the radio the way it is, it's a little hard. And can we even see the dial here? Oh yeah, we can get in there and see it. So that's another thing I may want to take a look at is, well, how far off is the dial? And then if I do correct the frequency of the FM IF to match what it says in the instructions here, 10.7, will that cause the dial to be inaccurate? So, I don't know. So what I got connected here? So I've got this signal generator putting out 10.7, you can see there, on this wire, which is connected straight to the FM antenna. Here they are here, just per the instructions. Exactly what it says here. Supply with 10.7 unmodulated. Okay, so we'll just turn off the modulation there. And tune the radio to somewhere where you don't receive anything, so you don't have interference. Hook up a DC probe to point A. Point A is this point, which is basically the output of the detector circuit here. And these are the two resistors I put in earlier, so they're ready to go. And you can see my meter connection here. So you can't quite see it. So there's the ground to the meter. This is the live, and I've got a camera on the meter itself, so we can get a closer look. That's me just wiggling the connection here a little bit, so you can see the pointer move. That guy is going to help us check the alignment, and this clip needs to go on point A, which is right here. So we're going to start with everything connected up. Okay, a deep breath while I ponder the situation here. I think we're okay. It's been a few days since I've worked on this radio. I've been busy. Okay, and I do have the output meter connected here to the speaker, but that's not what we're going to be paying attention to at all. If it flicks around, it doesn't mean much. It doesn't mean anything. I think we're ready here. I think. Okay, now we're on the FM switch is depressed. I better get a hold of the volume control here. Woo, which was way up high. Okay, so volume is now set to about 10-15%. Let me put it on restricted power. Everything's normal. Good. And full power. Now, let's watch and see if anything happens here. What might happen on this? hearing anything here. Here it comes. Okay, I'm turning up the volume here. Now, the meter, I wasn't watching. Did the meter go backwards? Let me flip this polarity control here. I think it did. Okay, so I'm going to unhook the meter briefly and we'll see what the pointer does. Yeah, it goes down to 0. So that's the voltage coming back from the radio. Make this a little more sensitive here. So we're on the 5-volt scale now, so we're seeing all of half a volt on there. So and we're not well, I can't tell. It's an FM radio. Even if I send a modulated signal in, I don't think you should hear the modulation, everything working properly. So how do we know if we're hearing the 10.7? I got to tune this guy around a little bit here. So I'm going to reach in front. So you see it's much closer to 10 point, it's close to 11. 10.7, so that's 250 kilohertz off. So it seems, anyway. Okay, let's watch this meter carefully while I do exactly the same thing. Just tune the signal generator here. Doesn't do much. Okay, so I'm going to increase the signal strength on the signal generator by a factor of 10. Wow, didn't do anything. Weaker, if anything. Wait a minute, let me put this back on here. Okay, I'm in the ditch already, so I'm going to cut back the strength. Cut it back again. Still, I'm not going to tune it. It's a tiny, tiny signal now. We're talking about, well, not super tiny, 10 times, maybe 100 microvolts on the antenna terminals. Okay, let me turn it up. 10 times more, 10 times more. You know, I really think something is amiss here. I don't think this is working. Anybody else want to join me on that? And the meter's showing a reading, and the reading is negative as it should be. Wow, okay, so this is not what I expected. I don't think the instructions are going to tell you what voltage you're going to read there. It's just going to say adjust for maximum deflection. 5 things to adjust. Well, it could be the IF is not just tuned to the wrong frequency, it's just messed up. It's just really messed up. So, let's see what we can do about that. I'm sure I can increase the mess here. Now, first I want to figure out, yeah, I did this before. This is AM, FM, or is it FM, AM? I don't remember. So we'll poke one. I think these were the AM ones. I think these are the FM ones. Yeah, for sure. You can already hear the difference there. Oop, what happened? Hey, what happened? Hey, what happened there? It seemed to me I was able to turn the slug one way, but when I went to turn it the other, this thing just cammed out. Yeah. We're going downhill at a rapid rate here. More rapid than usual. Well, there we go. What to do here? I could peek it up where it is on the assumption that the previous guy figured out 10.85 or so is where it should be to get the dial accurate. Or I should put it to 10.7 and force this thing to 10.7, and then later we'll see what happened on the dial. Forcing it to 10.7 I think is a good idea, because I think that helps the front end track properly too. So let's do what was intended. If the dial is inaccurate in the end by just a little bit, maybe I'll just accept that. So that means we got to put this thing down to 10.7. Wow. Okay, let me turn this the way we want to go. Oop. What happens if I modulate it? You know, I'm going to keep it modulated, because I can hear it. Okay, so what I've done is I've adjusted this in the direction we want to go. Now I'm going to peak up the signal on the radio. And bear with me a second here. I'm going to try something here. Just hang on. It's a little video thing happening. See if I can pull this off. Oops. There we are. There. Now we can watch the meter as I go. And on that note, let me adjust this again. Just make sure the meter is. How am I going to do this? This meter's not moving at all. There are multiple peaks in there. So this thing's way out of whack. There's all kinds of peaks. You know what? I can hear it all the way down to 10.7. Okay, let's peek it up. Forget the meter. For now, anyway. No action on that meter. So I'm watching this meter back here. I'm sure I've got it peaked up though. Really hard to spot. Kind of weird. This doesn't seem to be reacting the way I would expect. I mean, I can hear this going up and down in my ears, but I'm not seeing it on the meters. How weird is that? Okay, so we'll accept that that's at 10.7 now. I think I did get a little bit of a boost. There's another one. There's an A20 here. I've got to find A20 because I've done 16, 17, 18, 19. where is 20? Where is A20? A somewhere in here should be A. It's a no-show. A21, 22, A20. So A20. Wow, okay, that's a little tough. It's down in here somewhere. A20. Maybe it's rate. Oh, it might be on top of the FM box. Okay, so I got to sort out where A20 is. And I like, so I will attend to that now. Okay, so in checking this out, I realized I'm really not following the instructions exactly correctly here. I'm making some assumptions. So on here it says 16, 17, 18, 19 plus 20. And so my thinking is 16, 17, 18, 19, and then 20. But what I've discovered is 20 is in the FM tuning box, so is 19. And that really, what I should be doing is one of these two, and then those two. That's how you get 5 in the end. What's going on in here is you have the final transformer running at the IF frequency. The primary is what we want to adjust for maximum. The secondary is done a little differently. So I've already spun the secondary, assuming this is the secondary. And I shouldn't have until I adjust the equipment a little bit differently. But that's okay. That's okay. So we got to do 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. So 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Let's try it again. I won't worry about this last one. We'll assume this is the... I've just got to do it by ear because I'm not getting much. Okay, now doing the next two is a little tricky. They're just out of view of the camera here. So one is the primary side, one is the secondary side on a transformer that's delivering the signal out of the tuner and over to the IF. This is so similar to another radio I was working on recently, or am I just confused? Okay, so I'm sticking a metal screwdriver okay, I think I'm in. I think I went right in there. Maybe not. I don't hear any difference. I don't well, I heard that. A metal screwdriver maybe is going to make this difficult to do successfully. Let's try this one. Okay, I'm pretty sure I'm in there. Okay, so there we went down. So it might have been just a wee bit off. Again, I'm stuck doing this just by my ear. Now the other one, maybe it's not. Maybe you can't even use a screwdriver on it. Let me take a look. I may not have actually adjusted it. I'll just move the camera out of the way here for a second. Can't even see in there because it's blocked by some wires. let's use the close-up camera. Duh. That might go a little easier. Just leave it right on the screen there. So what we're trying to see here is what kind of tool I need to stick into the hole that is blocked from view there. Let's look at all the rest of them that are easy to see. So that one, a screwdriver would work. Screwdriver. So down, the one I'm looking at now, two of them actually are capacitors. The screwdriver's fine. This one up here, I think it's another slug myself, another coil slug. I think that's what it shows on the schematic. I can't see it. Okay, well, we'll just try engaging it again. So I would say that's in. You're listening now. Yeah, it's just very, very broad peak. So I think that's it. I think that's the IF align now at 10.7. We don't seem to get any indication on the meter here. That's helpful. Let's investigate that. Maybe it's just a bad day with the meter. Okay, meter reads. Doesn't seem like there's a problem. Oh, yeah. So did I connect it to the wrong spot? Pretty tough to connect this to the wrong spot here. Two resistors, one is grounded, and that's pretty obvious. I don't know what to say. Okay, let's try the next, the A21 here. A21, just to be sure. A1920, A21. So A21, I'll show you where it is here. So A21 is the secondary of the last transformer that's working at 10.7. You see, it's not a regular transformer like this one. This thing, a secondary is center tapped and a lot of stuff going on. It's got this other coil here. I don't know what to call that. Phasing coil. All part of the detection. So according to the instructions, I should have, and I have, tuned 16. Now I got to tune 21, but tuning 21 is done differently. I move the meter over to this point C. I believe it's C. B. I believe it's B. B. Oh. B. B is a test point sticking out here. This number 12. I gotta find that. Sticking out of this can. Wow, it could be a terminal not connected to anything. 12. You know what? I've got a diagram here that shows me, right here. It shows me physically where 12 would be. Let's see if we can find it anyway, just on our own here. So pin number 5 coming out of this can. So here's the can. There's all these pins. How would I ever know pin 5? Pin 5 is going nowhere. It's got nothing connected to it. 1 has something connected. 2 has something connected. 3 goes to ground. 4 is open. This is on the 460. On the AM side. 4. 8 goes somewhere. What happened? They didn't number this. Oh my gosh. So 22K is inside this metal can. You can't see it. There. Wow. Test point B. Even if it's some way made visible on the radio itself. Through some contrivance here. So that's something a little bit interesting. When I look at the, let me turn this down here. Okay, so we're looking, basically we want to track the back of this board. This, actually you can see there's a board inside the can, and that board protrudes out the bottom here and has connections made to it. Can we just count? 1, 2, 3, 4. Can we just do it like that? We start at the bottom and go 1, 2, 3, 4. Now 4 is a no connection, but it's connected. Something there. Let's try from the top. I don't want to short. I got my camera shoved in the back of this radio here. Let's try down this way. 1, 2, 3, 4. Seems to be connected. So I don't think we can count them like that. Let's see if I can. Okay. Give me a sec here. Okay, let's see if we can figure it out like this. Now I'm going to remove the clip lead here. This radio is still operating. So hold on to your ears. Nope, nothing happened. So, over here you see the diagram, the photograph that's in the manual, and here's the actual part here. You see number 12. 12 is pointing at the item of concern here. Where's my finger? Right there. It's up in here. Okay, which is right up in here. So I can't, you know, I look as much as I look at this diagram, I just can't quite see what's going on. This wire in the diagram is blocking the view, kind of. So I'm going to poke at those terminals. You can see these terminals down in here. I'm going to poke at them with the voltmeter, and we'll see if we can identify which one is the one we're after. Okay, put this back on the meter here so you can watch that. Now the idea of this adjustment is to zero it. So, you know, if I get a 0 reading, how am I going to know? So I think it's this one. What if I get the meter set to? The meter set to 5 volts. I can put 15 volts DC negative. Let's see what we get here. I think it's this right here. It scared me almost to death. My fingers back. There's a little wee bit there, I think. Is there? Yeah. That's a wee bit. Okay, that's the kind of thing we're looking for. I make the meter more sensitive. It's now 1.5 volts full scale. See what we get. Now I got to make an adjustment and see how this changes. So let me my little tiny adjuster screwdriver. Okay, too many hands going at once here. Okay, so I'm into what I think is the right adjustment, and the idea is to zero this. Wait a minute, where? Why isn't my mirror? Go to 0. Okay, 0 is off. Get that right on the 0. In on the slug. Okay, meter, slug. Wow, that's not working too well, is it? Okay, wrong slug. T'other slug. Tell me I've been doing the AM slugs this whole time. Is that possible? You know what? It's possible. Okay, on that basis, I'm going to turn what I think is the AM slug and see if it does anything here, just sound-wise. Okay. No, it doesn't do anything, so I'm pretty sure I got it right. Hope I got it right. So what are we doing here? We're not getting a 0 or any deflection on that. So is that not the right spot? Maybe it's this spot. Let's slug in. Okay, so something's going totally wrong here. Something really is not working out. Too many adjustments, not seeing things move on meters. Why don't we reassure ourselves this radio even works at this point? That might be a pretty good idea to do here. Okay, that's a good idea. Let's try that. A couple ways. One, I can use a signal generator, or let's just tune in some FM radio here. So volume down. Clip leads for the signal generator off. Put some kind of FM antenna in there or something. Some piece of wire. Where's my handy dandy piece of wire I leave around here all the time? Okay, that's kind of the start of an FM antenna there. So, just a piece of wire. Not much more than that. What do we got? Whoop. Whoop, whoop, whoop. That's one end of the band. Terrible. Wow, absolutely.
The vicar, William Ransom, Switzerland is a man of faith and so on. So you have faith meeting science here. What does the figure of the serpent mean to him? Does he think it's an act of God, or does he think his parishioners have gone crazy?
Well, what I thought would be huge fun, and I always enjoy doing this with readers, is to invert readers' expectations. So if you described this novel to somebody and you said, you know, there's a monster come along and there's a vicar who lives nearby, you would think immediately, well, the vicar will be the one who thinks that it's an act of God,
Yeah.
Admonishing to come to repentance.
Who
But
needs
actually,
instruments, eh?
Vicars now, and
Let's keep going by ear.
towards the end of the 19th century, were very interested in scientific development. They didn't see
Ah,
their
yes.
calling as being antagonistic to science. And Will actually is probably the most rational person in the novel. He thinks that everyone's got
Tuning,
worked up by
across the
an optical
band?
illusion or something.
Not good.
That's just something right there.
Let me get the voice on again.
And well, back to friendship and what we don't expect of it. And so you have two people who are very, very attracted to each other mentally, essentially, and the very fact that they disagree so strongly is not something that drives them apart, but something that brings them together. And they develop an intimacy which it becomes very complicated and very difficult for them, but all essentially based on a kind of intellectual sparring match.
So you draw your line, are you, between the platonic and the carnal? Is that the idea? Or are there two different kinds of love?
Yeah, I suppose I'm saying that they're all sort of rather mingled. So that
Yeah.
the book, there's lots of friendships in the book. There's a relationship between Cora and her companion, a woman called Martha. Their friendship is extremely intense and has obviously been in some way physical, but it doesn't categorise either their sexuality or their relationship. It merely is what it is. It's a very intimate and very special connection between them. And Will has a very, very loving relationship with his wife, which is not compromised by his friend.
So I got very quiet there because once again, and this has happened to me too many times, in the midst of me trying to use instrumentation to tune up an FM radio, I sort of decide, let's just see what it sounds like. And then I find that adjusting, especially the last adjustment here, the one that's the secondary feeding into the detector, it's just so much easier to do it just listening to a radio station and just using your ears. I don't know. I've had varying experiences, but it seems like probably 75% of the time the last thing I do with an FM radio is exactly this. Just listen to it and twiddle. You know, doing the IF a little hard that way, you're just making the signal stronger. But in terms of tonal quality and all that kind of stuff, it's really obvious when you turn this one. Okay, where are we at now with this radio? So we still have, let's see, I have an opportunity to redo the whole thing again. Only do it so so these kinds of things are on the scope. You know what? I think I'm going to try that, but I'm not going to do it as part of this video. I think we've heard how well this thing can sound. Whether it can sound any better than that, I have my doubts actually. But why don't we try this other process and try to get these diagrams on there and just see if I'm full of crap about my ability to just wing it successfully. Okay, that's good for now. Good for now. Thanks so much for watching, and it's a rainy day. I'll probably get back in here later today and do the next part. See ya.